The kind of hardship I'm talking about is self-imposed hardship. We get enough hardship from life itself. That helps, and by dealing with that hardship and that resistance of life, we do get stronger. The problem is that we've left our whole flank open over here because we don't perceive temptation and self-gratification as hardship, as blows to the body that we can't endure. So we always give in to them, which means what? We pay the price. We become lazy, entitled. We don't become our best. We don't achieve the result or desired outcomes that we want. Not a good place to be if you're trying to do something great with your life. So if you're going to get better prepared for doing the things necessary to create your desired outcomes, and you're going to have to impose some hardship yourself. We've been talking a little bit about how to do that. It could be done physically with getting up earlier, training, getting your diet straight. One thing that may be very helpful for you is in relation to other people, because that's a big thing that we don't talk about very much. We only talk about relationships with people when it comes to conflict, right? When we have a blowout and trouble with somebody at work or at home and we don't know what to do, gets to that breaking point. And so you say, hey, I don't know how to deal with my kid or my spouse or my boss or this coworker. Well, it's going to begin with how you deal with people daily. And part of that deprivation is self-deprivation is to get yourself to do what you normally don't do. So, for example, you might be moody a lot of the times, and you might use that moodiness to control other people. Well, now the challenge is you're going to deprive yourself of that moodiness, and you're going to be the bright spot. You're going to be the smiling one, okay? Or it may be that you don't talk enough to your spouse, right? You two sit around and don't say crap to each other on your phones, watching TV, avoiding each other. No, well, you're going to deprive yourself of that. You're going to put yourself out there and you're going to create some more interaction. You're going to have some more conversation. You're not spending enough time with your kids. You're going to deprive yourself of other stuff, get in their room, go out, throw the ball with them, whatever you got to do. Don't miss out on their life because you're, reluctant, don't want to be bothered with it, let the TV run their lives or babysit them, whatever. No, you got to deprive yourself and make yourself do what you don't normally do. You got conflict at work, be the good one. I'm not saying let yourself be walked over, but be the good one, be the polite one. Sure, you can stand up for yourself, but be proactive and not using the usual defense mechanisms that you've always used in the past. These temptations, these things are blows to the body. And if we're not enduring hardship, then we can't take those blows and life is going to knock us out. We will fall apart when something goes wrong domestically. We will fall apart when something happens with kids. We will fall apart when something happens at work. That's when I get the phone calls or the messages from people, right? When the crisis hits, because they weren't dealing with it beforehand. Over 50% of the stuff that people write into me about, they would not write into me about if they were stronger people. It wouldn't happen. I had somebody write into me not too long ago, and he was a good guy, or is a good guy, and he wasn't being impolite or anything. He was actually kind of sharing a motivational quote or whatever. And I just said, hey, thanks, man. And he said, well, just in all the negativity in the world, I figured I'd share some positivity. And I'm just like, man, listen, I don't give a damn about the negativity of the world. So, he goes, yeah, well, I wish I was like that. And I said, well, man, you can be like that. Come on. And he said, well, you have any recommended reading? And I'm like, I always get that question. I just said, man, you know what? I don't have any recommended reading. My mindset is the result of hundreds of things, thousands of things that I've heard, seen, read, listened to. Come on, man, do the work. You've got the internet. You've got it on an iPad, a phone, a computer, whatever. You've got access to the world, access to Amazon. You can't put motivation, self-improvement, or your topic that you're interested in an Amazon search and pull up a crap load of material. Well, of course, again, he didn't mean anything bad, okay? But again, to me, it's just like, dude, you don't need to burn up everybody's time with this sort of stuff. Do the work, find what you need to find. And then if it comes down to, hey, man, you just say, he might write in and say, hey, man, I'm looking very seriously at this particular book or whatever. Have you ever read it? Do you have any opinion on it? Then I can answer something, But you got to do the basics. And I'm sure you've had this too, where people write in or they'll ask you something and it's something they could easily find out for themselves. I'll see this on Instagram and Facebook posts all the time. My buddy Pat Mack, he'll always write out, because everybody asks him the same questions every time. So he'll do his little workout videos or something, and he's wearing these special pants that you can train in. So everybody will always ask him, hey, what are the pants? What are the pants? Whatever. And of course, it's right there in the show notes, right there in the little caption description. Do people read the caption description? No. So they're going to ask. It's just, people are lazy, man. They're just lazy. And, again, I think it's all telltale signs of we're not resourceful enough. I'm watching this documentary called The Pharmacist on Netflix. And the father, who's this pharmacist who lost his son in the 9th Ward to a drug deal gone bad or something, but his son was murdered. Because the police in the 9th Ward, New Orleans, were corrupt, he had to take it upon himself to solve this case. Took him over a year and a half. But the tenacity of this man was off the charts. I mean, he was relentless. I mean, absolutely relentless and determined on a level I haven't seen. Certainly not in my own life. Far more than me. And but he did it. And just goes to show you. And this was back in the 90s. So not having the internet and things initially to draw on. And he did it all with phone calls and tape recordings and all this stuff. Amazing. Walking the streets, knocking on doors, went through a phone book and just called every number in the book in that particular area. And actually found the person who was the witness he was looking for. Resourceful. Be resourceful. Be willing to endure. Be willing to do what it takes to get the answers that you need. I'm preaching to myself, guys. Okay. I'm not arrived. I am not arrived. There's so much I still need to do, so much I still need to overcome and accomplish problems that I need to solve, that I need to push myself to be more resourceful. But it's the temptation to fall into ease. But it all begins with that awareness to know that this is what's happening, to know that these things are making us weaker, and be willing to deprive ourselves, be willing to push ourselves to self-impose the hardship that we need to make us the kind of strong and resourceful people to create the kind of life that we want. Can you dig it? Hope you can.